Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Insights from a Headhunter. My name is Tiina Jarvet, and today I'm joined by Nigel Cliffe from the UK. Hi, Nigel, and welcome.
Hi, Tiina. Thank you very much indeed for inviting me. I'm delighted to be here.
I'm so happy that you said yes. So, for people who don't know Nigel, he is a LinkedIn trainer and a performance coach. And we will be talking about Boolean search, but also how to build trust and how to be credible or incredible. So, for people who don't know you, tell us who you are and what you do.
Thanks, Tiina. Well, I've been a full-time LinkedIn trainer for just over a decade. I was dabbling quite a lot of time before that. I found I was just really interested in it, in the success I had in a previous company I had. I started sort of finding myself being asked to do LinkedIn training, which is really weird, about 12 years ago. And then I started speaking at events, and I loved it so much I found myself doing it, and I passed off the other company to somebody else to manage, and that ultimately got sold in 2017, I think. I just love doing this. I love helping people on LinkedIn to achieve their personal and business goals. For me, it's just been a lot of satisfaction over the last decade, helping businesses and people realize their dreams.
Yes, and also how to be in front of the right audience.
Exactly. Yeah, it's all about visibility with the right people at the right time. And LinkedIn is only the, if you like, the starting block, isn't it? The real conversation happens offline. It happens on email. It happens in a Zoom call. It happens over a coffee. Then we get a proposal, and then we win business. So we have to recognise that LinkedIn plays a key and pivotal part in the first part of that process. But beyond there, I often talk about getting the relationship off LinkedIn. It's going to do you no good left on LinkedIn. So that's why the follow-up and getting conversations going is so important. And therefore, for me, the art of being on LinkedIn when you do it successfully is to build relationships that turn into conversations. For me, having a large follower count or a large number of connections has never been the goal. The size of my business doesn't warrant that. I can only deal with so many clients at a certain time, and therefore, what good is 100,000 followers to me? That isn't my business model. Not saying people shouldn't build a followership, but being an influencer of that type's never been really what's floated my boat. So I've been much more about building relationships or helping other people build relationships in a B2B environment with the right audience at the right time. And people often just don't know how to start developing a strategy around influencing that audience. So we go right back to the beginning. Let's define our target audience. Let's set some measures of success in place. Let's make sure we optimize our profile to incorporate the SEO value in the phrases and words that are encompassed on our profile, and then we start engaging and doing all the other stuff that we all know we all do. I'm sure most people on the call today are pretty familiar with all of that. But for me, it is about it's ever more about being more niche and not trying to influence everybody, but trying to be more relevant to the target audience you're trying to be attractive to. And I think sometimes many people can be guilty of casting a lot of nets in order to catch lots of fish. And actually, if you just went with one targeted objective and really worked hard towards that, you can probably realize your dreams a little bit quicker than if you try and be everything to everybody. Hence, we were talking earlier, I don't run live sessions on LinkedIn because there's so many things on LinkedIn we can do. I just felt I've got to stop somewhere. I want to be expert in certain fields. And listen, if you want some live advice, go to Tiina. Go to people who do that. That's not my specialism. And that's another wonderful thing about the world we're in. It's so supportive of people, who do what we do. That we're always there to help each other, pass on referrals to each other for skills that somebody else has that are better than yours. For me, I just really love it. It's a very collaborative world that we share together.
Yes, and when we spoke last time on a Zoom call, then we both realized suddenly that we are twins. So twins in a sense of personality. So there is a tool that you are using that I wasn't familiar with, and it could be very useful also for job seekers or for people who are doing business, business development, sales. Tell others also about these tools, because it blew my socks off.
Yeah, yeah, it's not quite as easy without being able to show live screens, but yeah, certainly. Oh, I don't know how many years ago it was now, but quite a number of years ago, I became aware of a product called Crystal Knows. Not Nose, it's Knows in English, and it can be allied with LinkedIn to determine the person's personality, which is where we realised that our disc profiles almost overlap. It was kind of weird, wasn't it? I thought, am I looking at yours and mine? I've never seen one quite as close as we seem to correlate on this on the disc curve. How that comes into some value on LinkedIn and in building relationships is that when used responsibly and effectively, it can give us a head start in knowing how to communicate and reach out to somebody, particularly in those first pieces of communication that we have, especially with an unknown contact, an unknown new connection. So I sort of started using this tool years ago now, and as trying to establish, in addition to what I could learn about a person on LinkedIn and through their always looking at their content and activity, of course we all do that, don't we? You can kind of get to know somebody really quick, but you still don't know what their characteristics are. Are they quite abrupt? Are they do they their rationale around data? Are they more personal, instinctive? And all those sorts of personal traits are missing from any description we can have of people on LinkedIn. Crystal Knows, comes into the equation and gives us a really rich understanding of the characteristics of a person, which allow us to, alter a certain style of messaging that we have in those early conversations. Now, some people find that really spooky, but I think, with AI developing so much more, we're all more attuned to sort of, personal information, demographics. It was just something I was a very early adopter and found fascinating, that I could take an email that I would normally script in my manner, which is kind of friendly and, probably overgiving and kind of probably a bit touchy-feely. And actually that, I just know that with some people's personalities, when you kind of understand what they're about, that would not resonate with them. They want to get straight into facts. They don't want the small talk, not even on email. They want to get straight to the point. And they go, okay, reflecting on the fact that person likes content that's more straight to the point, I might craft something a little bit more straight to the point in my messaging. And that, that gets that sort of, the likelihood of that being meeting with that person's expectations and resonating with their personality is just a kind of a bit of a game changer, really, because otherwise, if you always resort to your own characteristics, you will match some people and you simply won't match others. So why not have some edge on some tools that help you understand that person, so that you can just integrate with them better? And it's not about bad, good, or right or wrong. It's just personal traits. And it just so happened when we looked at this together, our characteristics sort of like almost did the same. You're probably the most difficult person for me to try to get to know, because we're just the same.
It's just like looking into the mirror, and the great thing is it's not ourselves who describe us. It's everything that you have done on the internet that analyzes you. And so you might even not know your own characteristics, but Crystal knows, and it helps you to connect better with other people in new relationships. And you can use it on LinkedIn and on Gmail and with other stuff. So I thought it was fascinating.
Yeah. You don't even need to have a LinkedIn account to be able to use the technology. I remember just quickly one lady that I was in training with a number of years ago now. And when I demonstrated this tool in an in-person training session, she was quite laid back. She said, you won't find anything about me. I'm very private. I don't have social media. I don't have a LinkedIn account. She'd come to this particular session to sort of understand what, she was in the legal profession. She was coming to understand what responsibilities there were by being on social media and LinkedIn. And she was really cool. It won't know anything about me because I'm just not out there. And I found her identity on Crystal Knows. And she went from this sort of like laid back pose of woof to, how does it know this about me? And she was absolutely shocked to her core about the amount of detail that this technology understood about her personality, taken from, as you said, all her interaction via the keyboard, basically, emails, other social media platforms. Any keyboard you touch, whether we like it or not these days, leaves a footprint of some type. And from all of that digital footprint, a personality can be understood. Frightening it may be, but it's a reality. We're not going to stop it. It seems to me we move with the technology, take the benefits, be very, very mindful of the downsides of the technologies that keep changing in our lives. AI, we could speak here for ages on that topic. I think I just kind of believe that the world is, generally speaking, is out for good over bad, and I just hope that the bulk of people, are using technology for the right reasons, not the wrong. But I know that's a rather not unusual, but it's a kind of naive viewpoint. But hey, you've got to hope, haven't you? You've got to hope, otherwise you'll get up in the morning.
Yes,
we're going to get deep, aren't we here?
And I think you could also use it when you're writing a cover letter as a job seeker. If you know the name of the hiring manager, you can use this tool. So it's really it exists out there. So why not use it? Exactly. It's the same thing as Boolean search. So tell us how job seekers could use Boolean search.
Okay, so I guess the story here goes back, if I may, Tiina, just to give the history of this. When we have a free LinkedIn account, we've got search filters, and they're fairly limited, aren't they? And LinkedIn is limiting them even further, as time goes on. So we're all encouraged to move on to premium, and that opens up a few filters that we don't have on free. But still, the architecture of those filters is fairly limited. And then we go to Sales Navigator, and we're told that there's even more filter options here, and that don't exist in premium, don't exist in free. And whichever way I dissected LinkedIn in terms of the information that I was looking for, I was frustrated 10 years ago, 15 years ago, probably actually, by the limitation. I thought to myself, why am I being limited to the filter searches on LinkedIn? I'm sure there must be a better way around it. And I don't know what point in time I became aware of the concept of Boolean and the sort of Boolean architecture and industry almost that exists. But there are a lot cleverer ways to search than be limited by the filters that even LinkedIn provide, even when you're paying for additional services. So I kind of looked around this, and over time, I wouldn't say I'm an expert in Boolean search, because I'm not sure there could be such a thing, but I'm certainly a everyday practitioner of the art of improving my understanding of search, and therefore I began to explore other search engines when looking for information on Google. So I wasn't happy to be limited by the searches that exist on LinkedIn. I wanted to explore my own search filter environment. Anyway, so I started studying Boolean search in a lot more detail, and quickly began to be sort of awakened by the fact that there were tools outside there that will allow me to search on LinkedIn, but use Google's search engine, which in my opinion is a much richer, deeper vehicle for search than LinkedIn's limited environment would ever be. So if I'm doing a search, I would always do it. I have premium, I have Sales Navigator, so I can do a search on there. But I was playing around just a couple of days ago, actually. In fact, I was playing around for the purpose of our talks when we go to Uplift Live in Birmingham in a couple of months. I was thinking, how can I demonstrate this, easily in front of an audience? And I was looking up things, and I thought, what are some of the most difficult things to find? What would I never find on LinkedIn? In fact, I think I might have something here. And where was it? I put a document somewhere displaying this. Anyway, I thought, what's the most unusual thing you've ever had a degree in? That people might be looking for somebody who's got that skill on LinkedIn, for example. What's a skill that you might have as a job searcher that doesn't fit into the category of search that all other searchers fit? And there's a degree you can get on puppet mastery. Yeah, I would have known that, So anyway, I was looking out for, so I started thinking, I can't find a puppet mastery filter on LinkedIn. So I started using Boolean search to find people who had got puppet mastery skills. So by using, if people don't know the very easy search filter that you use on Google, then it would be, I'll describe it because we're not on screen here. It's site:/LinkedIn.com/ Now I hold there, so it's site:/LinkedIn.com/, and then if you're looking for people, you'd add the letters IN, because the /IN finds people on LinkedIn. We're all denoted as LinkedIn as an item with the suffix /IN, and then you use the Boolean architecture, which I'm sure many listeners are aware of, the AND in caps for good practice. And then we start defining our own filters by specifying either single words or phrases, combining many words and simply separating them by the words and. Now let's keep this simple. I'm not going to talk about ors or nots at the moment. If you just think of ands, positive attributions on search are better than negative, by the way. Just drop that in. So if I'm adding a criteria like, I'm looking for a managing director in United Kingdom in engineering, then let's go United Kingdom. I might put in inverted commas so that I've got, because it's two words. Got balloons going up there. We got so if it's a single word, it doesn't really need inverted commas around it. But if it's a phrase, I would put inverted commas around it for simplicity here to describe it. And I'll just keep adding my search filters by the use of the word and in caps, and continuing to add search filters of my own liking. So usually we start with the priority first. So where's the priority? Well, perhaps the priority is in the subject matter area. It might be in the job title. It might be in the location, of course.
Yes.
It might be specifically in the company. It could be all sorts of things. You really are completely unrestricted in a way that you're simply not unrestricted on LinkedIn. So I kind of developed the art of doing this, and now for certain clients where I work in this area, it becomes such a useful tool to find the people who are typically hard to reach by the characteristics of the definitions that we would ordinarily describe them by, such as job title. As people in the world get more creative with job title, and chief happiness officer, for HR manager,
Yes.
we can't rely upon the fact that if they change their job descriptions, we're necessarily going to find them. But once we dig deeper to, if you like, a level of content or information that sit below the surface of job titles, and we can use acronyms related to jobs, we can use industry keywords, we can do some Google research to find what people talk about in these fields. It means that anybody with the skill of Boolean could almost be a complete idiot and still find hard to find information by seeing what other people are writing and talking about in fields specific to their area of interest. So, there are many more prefixes than site colon. If anybody's interested, I've got a sheet of prefixes, Google, prefixes that you can use. What are some of them? I think I wrote them down somewhere. All in URL, all in title, file types. We can find, I can look up on using Boolean search, file type : PDF, and list of, inverted commas, and managing directors in Yorkshire, where I live in the UK. And you'd just be amazed what's out on the internet, hanging around there, lists of all sorts of content. So you can imagine that I'm not now limited. I've never found that information on LinkedIn, but using, if you like, thinking outside the box of words that people might use to define other things. Like, I wonder if people call lists. Okay, they just do. So if you type into, you know, file type : PDF and list and sciences in biotechnology, the internet will come up with lists of people, and then you think, well, I wonder if they all went to conferences. Yeah, people went to conferences, and then, you know, is there a list of attendees at a conference? And before you know it, you're digging into such rich detail of data types that you'd never find by doing a LinkedIn search. And so you're thinking outside the box initially of clever words that people might use and phrases they might use that match the information you're trying to find, and then reverse engineering it back into search. It's much easier to show than it is to talk about. But I hope that's helped, just to give people an awareness of something that sits outside and is not, and it's not limited by number of searches you can have for people on LinkedIn, like LinkedIn.com is, and like to some extent even Premium and Sales Navigator are somewhere you reach a commercial search limit. Who knows where that is, by the way? Nobody knows. Yeah, so you're completely unrestricted. And when you find a person who's referenced on LinkedIn inside a link on Google, it just takes you straight to the profile. So it doesn't even count as a search on LinkedIn. So for those people on LinkedIn.com who are looking for an angle when they've run out of searches, just go on to Google, site : LinkedIn.com, and off you go. You know, you search for who you like, and it just takes you straight to their profile. Yeah, I get enthusiastic about it. So,
I heard that there are limitations from Kevin D. Turner, that LinkedIn has starting putting on limitations how much you can find about people on LinkedIn. But what you said is really interesting. Also, when people are looking for people who work in a company where they would like to work, to prepare the job interviews. All this, don't stay only on the company website, because there is so much more that's happening with the company in the conferences where they participate, or the job or the fairs where they go to get more information. And
yeah,
and knowledge is really the key.
Yeah, I'll give you another, your listeners another tip as well. If I'm searching for something, and this is a really powerful content tip in relation to LinkedIn posting and material. Sometimes if you go right back to basics in asking a question, you know, I'm just thinking of out loud here. What are the beneficial aspects of having a company page on LinkedIn? Right, that's a question that many people have asked themselves, and from time to time you might want to remind yourselves on. So you literally type that search into a Google search bar, and the answer, as we know, will come up in snippet form. There'll be an answer to that, but then below there, one of the most powerful things that I think exists, and it's not secret, but it's a tip I just provide to everybody, is if you just scroll a little bit further down, it says people also ask this. Okay, people also ask, and it comes up with initially 4 options of a similar type of question that people ask, which is informative in itself. But if you've not ever tried clicking on those arrows that belong to those 4 questions, start clicking on the arrows, because they open up multiple different questions of the way people are asking on Google. So it's pretty important, almost the same question. Now, when you're clever, you can basically, there's a lot of content in there to digest, first of all. But what you then begin to realize is, well, if this is what people are asking, perhaps this should form part of my content plan I should be providing answers to these questions as a part of my, if I was a company page LinkedIn, trainer, which I'm specifically not, but if I was, I'd be using that as a template to go through, answer all those questions, replay them back as my own content, and then guess what? Google starts giving you authority on its platform because you're providing the answers to the questions that people are asking. So lots of valuable tips in there for us all to learn from, especially when I don't know a field and I'm looking to develop expertise in a field in which I have no experience. I can just go and ask some simple questions of Google, drop downs people also ask, and suddenly I'm enriched by opening all these little arrows that open up more boxes and tell us more things for us to absolutely completely understand this cluster of information that sits around this topic. So that's highly valuable. So if your job searchers in particular are trying to understand how they can put value back into their lives by understanding what the employers are looking for, just go and ask some questions of Google, of that industry, of that company, of that marketplace. And you can learn such a lot. I was once in a training session 7 years ago, and it's with I don't think I've given anything away here, the German kitchen manufacturer. And I got a phone call from the lady. She said, "Nigel, we'd like to, you're down to, we've narrowed the list of trainers down to the last couple, and I'm now ringing them to see if we'd like to work with you." And she said, "What we're a bit concerned about as kitchen manufacturers is that people come along and talk about LinkedIn in relation to accounting or professional services." She said, "We manufacture kitchens, and we're just a bit concerned that the day's training for our European head of HR and marketers, are going to be like, oh, here we go. We want to know about kitchens." And I said to her, "I promise you, when I come and do the training, my complete training will be full of kitchen manufacturing materials." And she went, "Really?" I said, "Of course. Yeah, absolutely." She said, "Nigel, you're the last call, and nobody's promised me that before. You've got the work." So that's wonderful. Thank you very much. Put the phone down. "Oh, well, what have I done?" But it wasn't difficult, because all I began to do is go and research manufacturing kitchens in Germany, so that when the training came about, I was able to sort of say, and of course with the autumn trend of concrete greys and autumn plums, and of course the soft touch door technologies that are being introduced that we all need to have in our and these people going, "Nigel, how we didn't realize you worked in kitchen manufacturing as well as a LinkedIn trainer."
You speak kitchen, Nigel.
So yeah, and all I'd done was, like, for a couple of weeks was just research kitchens so that I was knowledgeable and could give it that information using Boolean search to find the materials that were trending and were happening in their industry. And it wasn't that difficult, with a couple of little things dropped into a conversation. I looked like an expert on kitchen manufacturing. How weird is that?
It's your superpower. Let us go and see the comments that have come in. Oh, we have the first one, Jeff Young saying hi from across the pond. Namaste, my friend.
Namaste,
and we have also Mika Allen joining us from Holland, the land of tulips and cheese, my neighbor. And we have Anne Davis, lovely to see you guys, and more people whom we will meet in Birmingham in 2 months' time. Greetings from across the pond today. Hi, Jillian. And we have a question from Marilise Garcia from France. I'm curious, do you use Crystal Nose often, and for what purpose mostly?
I probably use it once a week or once a fortnight. I'll tell you when I most typically use it, because you could spend your life examining people's profiles and never doing anything else. So I will typically do it when I'm perhaps making a proposal to somebody, So if I know that they're like facts and figures, they're very measurement orientated, then I will tailor a proposal that steers towards, you know, facts and figures. Somebody else, you know, may be more personal and actually, you know, wants to feel they've built a relationship with me, and that they're expecting the pleasantries of, you know, hope you have a nice day, how's your weekend, and therefore you can integrate that kind of knowledge into your communication. And I would say I probably use it more at the email stage of a dialogue with somebody than I would necessarily on LinkedIn. But even then, if I was reaching out to somebody within the limited character count of a connection request, and it was a really important, you know, connection request that I wanted to get right, I would use that to define how I write to that person, even within the limitation of the intro message on a connection request. And I know that has made a difference in, you know, when I've needed it, but I don't do that all the time. You know, I'm not sort of poring over everybody's crystal nose profile. You know, there isn't time to do it, frankly. But when I need it, it's such a valuable tool.
Yeah, that's true. And we have Cliffe joining us. Hi, lovely people. I learned from John what Boolean search was earlier today, and this is something I can see will be really helpful for LinkedIners. Thank you for sharing your expertise. It is. And we have Deborah Teixeira. Super cool live, Tiina. I adore this theme. Super stuff.
Thank you for interpreting that for me.
Yes.
I was just telling Tiina, I'm so impressed by the number of languages you speak. I as an English-speaking native, and that's all I speak, it's embarrassing sometimes, and I'm so impressed by your ability to converse in multiple languages. It's fantastic.
It's just a habit to quickly switch between languages. Yeah. And we have Ella joining us. Hi, Ella. And she says she's often get confused with the use of the inverted commas.
If you come into Birmingham, Ella, I'll tell you more then. And hey, you know, DM me. I'm very happy to help anybody explore this, because you know, that's my mantra these days. I just want to help as many people I can be successful on LinkedIn in whatever way possible, and in life. So yeah, so reach out to me if you need any help there at all.
And we have John Esperian joining us. I see 2 Uplift live speakers together. Woohoo! Can't wait to see you both in Birmingham in a mere couple of months. We can't wait to meet you in person as well.
Can't wait. Yeah, so it's going to be absolutely fantastic. You know, listening to the speakers on the stage, but also you know, networking, meeting yourself in person, Tiina, and so many people I feel are friends on this platform. It's going to be amazing when they see that I'm only 5'6" tall.
Yes, and there is a comment from Linda. I'd be interested in your cheat sheet, please. That sounds like some great information. Yeah. So how can people come in contact with you? What is the best way to connect with you and to find you?
Linda, reach out to me on LinkedIn, send me a connection request, mention that you've been on the show here today, and I'll happily send you a PDF with those prefix Google alerts that I've created. There are about 12, 15 of them, which are, you know, and then, you know, Boolean isn't, I describe Boolean as much as an art as it is a science. So it's not like there's a fixed set of rules. You have to sort of like think outside the box and be creative with the use of Boolean, because it's just changing all the time. You know, the way that the algorithms work change all the time, as we know on LinkedIn. They do the same on Google. So what works today can change tomorrow. So you just got to be prepared to play around a little bit. But it's very worth your time to do so. So yeah, anybody wanting that sheet can, you know, reach out to me, ask for it, and be delighted to supply it.
All right. So everyone, even people watching the replay, reach out to Nigel. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we will be seeing each other soon live in Birmingham. So thank you everyone for joining us.
Thanks, Tiina.
Thank you so much, and see you soon.